Right, good evening. It's 7 o'clock, December 4th, 2023. It's the time and place for the City of Tioga Commission meeting. Will you please stand for the pledge? Start with the minute from November 15th, 2023, special commission meeting, minutes from November 20th, 2023, public hearing, November 20th, 2023, commission meeting, and November 29th, 2023, special commission meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, with the motion a second, no questions, comments, concerns from the board, we'll move to vote.
Yes.
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 All right, so moves, commissioner reports.
I have nothing, just doing regular maintenance. Nothing big to report, I guess.
I have some in new business to talk about it.
I have nothing.
Nothing. Don't forget the, employee evaluations are due Please ensure that you guys are getting them. All right, any modification or approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All right, with the motion and second to approve the agenda as it stands, no questions, comments, concerns from the board, we'll move to vote.
Yes.
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 All right, so moves. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, perfect. As always, if you guys have issues hearing somebody, let us know so we can turn on their mics or get them closer. All right, we'll start with the old business. We'll start with legal. Liz?
Thank you. Good evening. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I will try to flip right along this evening. I guess the first item that I'll note is that before the commission is it's new business item number 5, Select Water Solutions Agreement. I appreciate Abby getting that to me in advance. I did review that, and if that's something the commission is interested in undertaking, of course, I don't weigh into policy, but the form of the agreement is just fine. So I wanted to let you guys know that before we got to number 5. I did want to let you know, and I think the commission has already approved it, but we are working on that trapping ordinance. I am behind. That is my fault. I was in training last week, and I'm actually out of state right now and down in Kansas. So I'm going to try to get that to Abby before end of week. I know there was one trapping item that was already approved, but it needs to be stapled to the resolution. So I will try to make sure that that is done and ready for commission review this week. I have the notes of what you all indicated you'd like. Other item that I think I had on my list tonight. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to scroll through notes here. Nope. That all looks okay. I will be meeting with Abby on December 20th. So you should all look forward to updated ordinance provisions. We'll go over those as they transpire, but just so the board is aware, Abby and I have a full day booked on the 20th to complete those items, and we're angling to get those things done before the end of the calendar year. I think that's all I have to share tonight. There may be points during the agenda as usual, where something unexpected comes up, I weigh in, but I think that's all I have to share this evening.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Number 2, community center media update.
Felder, Community Center Director. What is the definition of a community center? A community center is a place where people from a particular community can meet for social, educational, or recreational activities. That is exactly what our facility does and will continue to do at no charge for day-to-day use, aka no membership fees. I have been told that the existing community center was built to replace the Farm Festival building, and it was intended to serve those same needs. But it has been able to hold much more than originally anticipated, and that should be seen as a great thing. However, with unexpected growth comes unexpected issues. Why is an expansion needed? Even before the current building opened back in June of 2019, it was known that it wasn't quite big enough. The size was slightly minimized to save costs. When I was hired in May of 2020, I was informed of this and that the building was built in a way where it could be added onto and eventually would need to be. Over the years of working there, myself and my staff have really come to see what works and what doesn't as far as functionality from day to day to how things flow during all types of events. So what needs to change to improve functionality? For someone that doesn't work in the facility, it's easy to assume that there may be little to no issue with the building as it is now. But for our staff, you quickly find out what the struggles are behind the scenes. For example, prior to community events, weddings, or large company meetings, we shift unnecessary items out of that group's way to make ease of access better for them. This benefits them so that they don't have to worry about constantly shifting things out of the way, and it benefits our staff so that we can ensure items get put back in the proper place. Some complaints that we hear, and probably the most common ones, are one, from those that frequent the building, we hear that we are often shut down due to rentals. And two, from those who rarely come in or don't use it at all, we hear that we are never busy and we sit empty all the time. So I put together some stats to share with you regarding building usage for a calendar year from December 2nd of 2022 to December 2nd of 2023. Keep in mind, the numbers I'm about to share do not account for daily or weekly activities held by the community center, such as open gym, pickleball, book club, story time, etc. If you remove the 14 days that we were closed for observed holidays, we were open and functional for 351 days. The total days that the facility was utilized for an event or an activity put on by an outside source was 245 days. This includes days needed for setup and cleanup depending upon the event. Within those 245 days, we had 309 activities or events occur, which means there were times where multiple things were happening on the same day. Also within those 245 days of utilization, the building was completely shut down for only 29 days, mostly for things such as annual community events as well as weddings. 129 of those 240 days were partially shut down, which means that only the library and playroom were available for use because the gym and/or the activity room were being utilized for a specific event. So as you can see, we do not sit empty. So how is an expansion going to benefit the entire community? By rearranging some of the existing rooms, we will greatly improve the functionality and flow of traffic. We are also going to be able to add some new areas and activities that we don't currently have. Adding new things that don't require a lot of maintenance or supervision is the smartest option and the most financially feasible. This facility is not only here to suit the needs of children, it probably serves more adults than anything, if I'm being honest. We have so many transient people come to town for work who are constantly looking for things to do. We have homeschool families that are so thankful for our one-stop shop facility. We have people without kids who like to have a place to go besides the bar. And we've even had families tell us they chose to move to Tioga versus other surrounding towns because we have this facility. As years go on, events only continue to grow. Having a larger event space would better serve the needs of not only the community events that go on throughout the year, but, for example, the large company meetings that take place. They have nowhere else to go in this town. Another benefit to having a second space for physical activity is for the times when the large event space is being utilized. The general public can still come in and shoot hoops, walk laps, play pickleball, play racquetball, golf, use the library, the playroom, the activity room, and so much more. Because we'll be able to separate the areas needed for everyday activities and keep the renters within their own needed space. So now I'm going to walk through option TB. Everybody has a copy now? I'm not going to go into every single room in full detail to save time, but rather I will highlight the rooms that most impact positive change to the building's functionality. Starting with room number 1, which is at the bottom left corner, the existing office. Currently, I share an office, a desk, and a computer with my 2 assistants. This office will become the assistant office / break room. Room number 2. Currently, that is the existing activity room. It will be turned into a multi-purpose room. This room currently houses our golf simulator, our game tables such as ping pong, air hockey, foosball, shuffleboard, and a pool table. This is a popular room and is utilized daily, as well as during youth group on Wednesday evenings, for birthday parties, baby showers, garden club, yoga, small company meetings, Pheasants Forever, Fireman's Carnival, Christmas parties, and at times it's used as storage. This room comes in handy because it has an exterior entrance. However, when we shut this room down because of gym rentals, the exterior entrance is kept locked so that our limited staff can monitor who's coming in and out of the building. There is also no bathroom access from that room without walking through the gym or outside. When the room is utilized for Pheasants Forever, they cover our game tables so they can be utilized for their own games. And the golf simulator limits the space they have because it takes up a quarter of the room. For other events in this room, we've had people spill food and drinks on the game tables. We have tears in the pool table vault. People sit on and break the edges of the game tables. Our pool sticks and other game pieces constantly break because of misuse by kids and adults, and kids play in and pull on the golf simulator curtains. The last thing we need is for something from the simulator to collapse and hurt someone, let alone a child. It's difficult to monitor all of this on a regular day, let alone trying to do it while there's a large event happening. All of the items that are housed in here would be better suited in a more centralized location so that they don't get closed off during certain events. And by putting the golf simulator in its own room, the risk of someone getting hurt or causing damage to the machine is much lower, and it creates a more peaceful environment for those who enjoy golfing without loud background noise. The last benefit to clearing this room out is that it can act more so as a multi-purpose room that still holds a majority of what already takes place in there, but it would now offer more floor space, can accommodate those events that are too small for the gym but too big for the conference room. We would also cut in a corridor to the north hallway so that they have easy bathroom access as well as kitchen access for those times where a caterer or food is involved. The existing interior overhead door to this room can still be opened, giving additional space for events that take place in the break rooms. Moving to room number 3, that is currently 2 locker rooms, but would become 1 storage room. A couple of years ago, our men's locker room became a storage space. For some time, it has completely been taken over as storage for a hodgepodge of items, as well as items being stored inside almost every single locker and on top of the lockers. The women's locker room is also starting to become more storage space. Because we already use these spaces as storage, we aren't really gaining much more by removing the wall, the lockers, and making it 1 room, but it is better suited as storage. Moving to number 4, the new south corridor. This new corridor will cut through our existing conference room, creating a pathway to the new addition. Room number 5, which is storage. This is also part of the existing conference room, but will become another much needed storage space. For reference, the current small closet between the south entrance and the closet in the existing conference room are packed full, but will be removed because of building. There have been many times where I have been laughed at and mocked for expressing the need for storage. And I know it's not very exciting, but it's necessary. And unless you deal with it daily, you will not understand that there was not enough storage bin the first time. I'm not saying that's anybody's fault, because nobody could have foreseen how this building would be utilized or how quickly it would grow. Every current storage room and each of the new storage rooms are already accounted for by what we currently have and what we know we'll need to get. We also need to have room to grow, rather than turning public spaces into storage and constantly having to play the game of Tetris. Let's not make the same mistake twice and put in ample room for storage this time around. Room number 6, the existing great room. As you'll notice, the size of this room is significantly larger than what we currently have. This is because the library and playroom have been removed and relocated to the new addition. Opening this room would vastly improve the space needed for our larger events that have outgrown the existing space. Originally, this room was just over 7,000 square feet, but if expanded, would be about 10,700 square feet. Please note that the large section of bleachers you see in there is an alternate add-on and not a definite item. When it's not being utilized for public or private events, this existing great room can still be utilized for everyday activities. Room number 7, a small janitor's closet. Room number 8 and 9, a set of men's and women's bathrooms. Please note we cannot make these bathrooms any smaller if they were already the smallest size they can be per building code based on total square footage. Room number 10, the relocated playroom. As I mentioned earlier, the playroom is relocated to the addition, keeping it across from the library as it was originally. These two rooms go hand in hand for several library-related events. A benefit to having it across from the library is better visibility for parents and kids who go back and forth between the two. We would be able to reuse the interior windows from the existing playroom and the existing library as well. Room number 11, the relocated activity room. As I mentioned earlier, this room would be better suited in a more centralized location. Its new location would still make it accessible by Wednesday night youth group, as it would be easy for the leaders to monitor activity. It can also be utilized as additional space for community events, as it could be a food serving area equipped with proper electrical for roasters, crock pots, etc. The existing west overhead door could be rolled up, creating a large entrance to that room. There is also an accordion door to separate the games during those rare occasions. This would limit the misuse and any more damage to those items. Room number 12, a small storage room. Room number 13 and 14, a new set of men's and women's locker rooms. One current available locker room we have isn't used immensely, but having new locker rooms is still beneficial, not only for athletic use, but also in the event that this building is needed because of a town power outage. One of our committee members is looking into a grant that could help us acquire a generator in the event where people are out of power for long periods of time. Number 15, the relocated golf simulator. Having the simulator in its own space is important, not only for the safety reasons I mentioned, but for ease of access by those who want to utilize it. Our simulator is often busy during the winter months, so when there's a large event taking place in our existing great room, we either have to walk outside to turn it on, or we have to completely shut off that room. Having it near an exterior north door will be handy for golfers so that they don't have to carry their clubs all the way through the building. Number 16, a laundry room. We go through a lot of laundry, so having the ability to wash our dirty items on demand will be a big time saver. Number 17, a new racquetball court. This item was a popular request amongst all of the input we received. Keeping this and the golf together in this specific location will help minimize disruption to other areas because of the noise these two activities bring. Number 18, a new south entrance, which will have handicap parking right up close to it. Number 19, new main office. As I mentioned in the beginning, I currently share an office with my two assistants. Whether it's myself or the person after me, having a separate office is appropriate and needed. Also, having this office and the existing office in separate parts of the building will help with monitoring day-to-day foot traffic. Number 20, the relocated conference room. The existing conference room is getting removed to add the hallway and storage, so relocating it to a quiet area is key. It will be able to hold 20 to 30 people, while our current conference room can comfortably hold 12 to 20. Number 21, the new lobby. Number 22, new audio/video. This is where our new sound system for the addition will be housed. Number 23, new library storage. The existing library has been out of storage space for years. Finally, having this type of space will be a huge benefit. This room will also have some counter space, which can act as a private workstation for the library director or her assistants. Number 24, mechanical and electrical room. Number 25, the relocated library. As mentioned earlier, if the existing great room is expanded, the library will be relocated. As many of you know, the existing library outgrew its space years ago. Giving more space to the library will help separate adult sections from children's sections, as well as being able to put the computers in a quieter space. We would finally be able to add books to shelves that have been boxed up, have a space for the Tioga Tribune archives that are currently being stored on the floor, and also be able to add many new items. Number 26, the new multi-purpose room. There was a lot of lengthy and detailed conversation regarding this room specifically. And as I mentioned before, having this space would greatly improve our facility's functionality because it would need to be closed off to the public for 2/3 of the year. Adults, kids, elderly, families, they could all be using that room when the existing room is being rented out. A regulation-sized court equipped with basketball hoops, the option of volleyball, pickleball, the use of scooters, etc., would be housed in this space. A comfortable walking track was a huge request and can be used by all ages. This room also has space for a future batting cage as well as a removable turf floor. And also the turf could be used in the existing great room at times when needed. Please note for this space as well, the retractable bleachers you see are an add-on and again, not a definite item. We've talked about relocating some small bleachers from the existing great room or also bringing in rolling bleachers as needed. Number 27, more storage. 28, mechanical and electrical room. Number 29, new garage. Currently, our snow removal equipment is being stored outside. For years, we've had many issues with our machinery being left out in the elements, and having an appropriate place to store them will help with their longevity. The garage would also have a workbench for our maintenance man. He currently has nowhere to fix or work on damaged items. We would also store all of our paint, tools, air filters, and other snow removal items in this garage. Having it attached to the building and near the entrance of the skating rink is a must. Number 30, the new corridor. This corridor is especially important because for staff, it gives access points to every single area of the facility. If you've noticed since I've been up here, improving functionality has been a recurring theme and is by far one of the most needed adjustments for this entire facility. And the last item, which is not numbered, is a new warming house. It's in the upper left corner. If you've ever been inside of our current warming house, you know it's in rough shape. It was never intended to be a permanent building. It's small, it's falling apart, and it's infested with mice. As shown in the designs, building a new, larger warming house with a bathroom, a living area, and storage for winter and summer rink items would be a wonderful and needed addition. Now let's dive into option P. I promise this won't be a lot faster as there's only a few different things based off of T. And as you can see on this option PB, there are no adjustments to the existing great room. So starting with room number 5, this would become library storage rather than regular building storage. Room number 7, the new library expansion. Because this plan doesn't have the entire library relocating, the library addition would be directly to the west of where the current library sits. A doorway would be cut through the existing west window. This library has a bit more dimension than option T and is almost equal in size, but her storage space is slightly larger on this option. Moving to number 14, this multi-purpose room would no longer hold the activity room items, but could be utilized as an extra event space, another room option for small meetings and parties, etc. It also has an overhead door on both the west and east sides of it for the ability to move large items from one side of the building to the other. Note, option T also has the 2 overhead doors. Number 22, the relocated activity room. The same concept as before, this room could be divided by an accordion door for the times when extra space is needed by the secondary multi-purpose room. Number 25, the multi-purpose room I speak of. Like option T, this room has many capabilities and can also be utilized for more than physical activity. As you'll see, there is a set of bleachers, another alternate add-on, not a definite, located in the middle of the room with the ability to have turf on the back side. The debate on the location of these bleachers has been ongoing with pros and cons. If bleachers get added in where they're shown, we would not be gaining one large event space. The idea of having the bleachers in that location was to help separate activities going on at the same time so that neither one impacts the other. For example, If people come in and want to play soccer or throw a football, they can go on the turf side and not try to fight for the court or send a ball flying towards someone who may be walking around the track. From the standpoint of someone who works in the facility, this specific room does not meet all needs. However, either design is functional. As I said in the beginning, option TV was the overall choice by our committee members. That option meets all of the needs of the community equally. As a community center, that is what we aim to do. To wrap things up, I'd like to touch on one last thing. Many times the topic of starting over has been suggested. And while I always do my best to understand the perspectives of others, I need to make something clear. This is not a new project. As you can see, we are on option T. We started at option A almost 3 years ago. We have ran through so many different ways this building could be laid out. How many more times do we need to alter designs? I think it's fair to say that after all of the years we've been open and with the significant input from our community and both committees, the staff has a very good idea of what needs to change and how. But hypothetically, let's say the project started over. What would be different? 95% of what you see on this design has to be included. Most of the rooms you see are relocated from the existing building and are essential. So we start over. We spend more time designing. Price of materials and construction costs go up. We are then unable to get as much square footage as we can right now. So we get less and we likely pay the same amount, if not more, while gaining nothing new. Because at the end of the day, we would only be able to add what the facility needs to improve its functionality. We wouldn't be able to add anything new for the community. We have the ability to add what we need and more right now. We have the funding to build this expansion from oil and gas impact monies and not taxpayer dollars. And it would be incredibly absurd not to take up this opportunity. Rearranging our current rooms and adding new things that don't require a lot of maintenance or supervision is the smartest option and the most financially feasible. And I can't express this enough, but location matters. Every room or item that we have was chosen for a specific spot for a reason: ease of access and functionality. And as one last note, I meant what I said at the last meeting about having researched every idea that's come our way to determine its feasibility. For anyone who would like a copy of the operating costs from the Stanley or Watford indoor pools, feel free to look back in the Tribune archives that are stored in our library, or I encourage you to do your own research. To finish it out, I'm going to have Matt Leertz with FCI come up and share the costs of each design I just went over. Thank you.
So just real quick, want to touch on the process of what we've done so far as your construction manager and what we have left to do. So kind of put it into context of what decisions are important and why. So what we've done is, as Haley discussed, the two options that we looked at, T and P, version B of those. We basically took our, at the same level of estimating that we did on option L back in June. I think that's when it was presented, when the budget was kind of approved. So it's still a high level estimate, very conceptual still. All we have is a floor plan. We don't have building elevations or finishes or even a site plan yet. So it's still high level. The purpose is just give us a starting point so we have a budget to work within as the design progresses. And as it progresses, we update our numbers just to make sure we're still tracking, if we're staying within that budget. And ultimately, it goes out to bid for all the trades in the competitive bid market. And we come to you with our final guaranteed maximum price to start construction. So that whole process from now until then is, you know, we haven't finalized our schedule with that yet, but I'm just going to say 4 months remaining in that process. So We're technically not even asking to start construction yet, we're just gonna be asking, you know, which concept do we wanna go forward with? If any. So option T, as I mentioned, the top number on the worksheet, option TV. 13,208,523, that's our construction estimate. We included the ice rink warming house alongside that, but separate. And then we broke down some alternates below that. And we just arbitrarily selected some of them to see how it would fall if we, you know, if those were the ones you chose to go forward with, to see how we're sitting with that $16 million max budget. So those aren't set in stone, they don't have to be approved tonight as, you know, these are the alternates we want. I just put them in there. Because I think those are alternates that you can carry through all the way to the beginning. So some of those that we mentioned, we got the gym track, the gym and the track flooring and the addition. That's with option T. And that'd be a recessed wood sports floor. We got two sections of bleachers, one that's in the existing great room, one that's in the new multi-use room. A batting cage, some removable artificial turf that can be put down either on the gym or even in the great room. It's kind of more of a furniture piece. If anything, it's really not construction element. And then we have three items of parking. 5A and 5G are not in addition to each other. There'd be one option or the other. 5A would be going with a full paved parking lot. It's expansion to the east. And then 5B would just be some regrading. And then just some ground parking. Just a lesser option. And then we have alternate 6 to extend the parking lot to the west. We do have some parking and relocating the ADA spots in the top base numbers because we know we have to do it no matter what we do. So there is some site work included in that number. And then you carry that down, that's all your soft costs, what we call them. You get your design costs, material testing, furniture, and then we also have a 5% contingency. Protect the budget. So yeah, option TV, we're, you know, with those alternates selected, like I said, they don't have to be those alternates. We're at 15.8, so we feel good enough about that. You know, I don't have any major concerns about that concept.
And then PD,
Same thing. We have one less bleacher alternate because we just have the 508 seats in the addition, not adding any in the existing great room. That one actually did come in a little bit more. We have on this option, we have a bigger addition, but no renovation space, a little bit of renovation. On option T, we have more renovation because we're taking out those interior rooms and making that one space. So, but both of them are very close to each other. I don't really, at this level, I think whatever differences you see in those numbers is irrelevant. I think it's because that the level we're at with estimating, really should just be the deciding factor should be on functionality and use of the space. These numbers are not critical piece. The important thing is that we're tracking on the approved budget. What we wanted to come to you tonight. So really, the decision, I guess, what we would like to have is which option do we want to go with, and what can we proceed with design on? What could EAPC start that next level of design? Like I said, we got months of design left, and we're already a little bit I'd say farther down than I would like to be out of the ground next summer, so. We kind of gotta pull the trigger on something, so that's why we're here. Any questions for me?
No, I don't believe so right now. Thank you.
Mr. Leader.
I don't. Does anybody have any questions for her?
You guys need an option pick tonight. I mean, that would be the goal.
Oh, yes.
I understand your goal. Looking at the agenda, I don't know if I want to go down that road right at this specific point. 2 weeks is 2 weeks. Is there any way we can wait until the next meeting? I don't, I'm just looking at the agenda and I know what's coming. And I just, to save backlash, excuse what I say, to avoid any issues. Give it just a little bit. We can revisit this later on this evening, but I think we need to look at the rest of the agenda. At least here for people.
Sure, that's fair.
Understood.
Anybody else on the board have any questions, comments, or concerns, or would like to do something different than what I have suggested?
I think that's a good idea. I'd like to look this over a little more. I've never seen it before. And I didn't bring my readers, so I can't see too much.
Dollar General was open earlier. I'm not sure if they still are. Okay. All right. Appreciate your guys' time with that. Thank you. All right, let's go move on to the next one then. We'll go for estimate for the ditch grading and clean out between Dakota and Main Street on 67.
Yes, there was an estimate from Esther Home in the amount of $8,060. It's for the work so that water won't stay on one of the streets and do more damage.
A little louder, please.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Thank you.
The estimate from Mesno Homes for 67, it's for the roads between Dakota to Main Street is $8,060. That's so the water won't stay there, freeze up, damage more of the road that's damaged already. It would help flow the water to another area.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, with the motion to approve in a second, no questions coming.
This drainage situation here, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, sir, that is what we're talking about.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Yes, Mr. Schmidt, you may.
Quite understand what this is about. I lived here 80 years. And water flows to the east. And water will find its own level. And the purpose, you're only going to lower the ditch to Main Street. That's correct?
Surveyed the ditch and the dirt has filled up in the ditch between Main Street and Dakota Street. And so it's dammed up about a foot higher to 1.5 feet higher than what the flow is should do. So it's damming water back for those apartments by 1.5 feet. So we need to get that dirt out of there so that that can flow away. That's the reason and purpose for this, and so as to minimize the damage to the street.
I drive by there many times a day. And if your engineer did not notice that Main Street is the high point of that drainage ditch, and you are going to have to lower that culvert, you have your our NCC main phone line laying there. and there's a water line there, and you can't tell me by lowering that ditch, it's not gonna help your situation.
It's also gonna increase the size of the culvert.
Pardon?
We're gonna increase the size of the culvert too.
You gotta lower the culvert,
And
because that's the high
make a
point
bigger
of the
culvert.
hump. And furthermore, you're gonna be draining that across our cemetery property. And I tell you one thing. I've learned this a long time ago. Whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. Is that what all that dirt is piled out there for? What's all that dirt out in that field for?
That was from the street projects from the northeast.
Do you know it's illegal to fill a natural drain? North Dakota?
There's nothing blocking there. The drainage is nothing blocking the drainage.
How's the water gonna get away from it? If you're gonna have a.
Well, if you don't block it, then it's getting it away from it the way it has been in years past.
All right,
So
anything else, Mr. Schmidt?
this is
Well-
also a temporary fix or a permanent fix. Until a permanent fix can be done.
Well, you
That's
guys are all wrong on this. I don't know who your engineer is.
Okay.
But you can tell water level seeks its own level.
Understood. I appreciate your comments, sir.
Yeah. Furthermore, I've been watching your minutes. And how did this ever get on new business? Because it's never been in the minutes of the city commission that this is addressed. And now you're taking estimates on it. You better check with your Williams County Water Board also before you start monkeying with this stuff.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate your time and effort.
Did you hear what, or did you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Go have a seat.
I'm not done yet,
You are, sir. Have a seat, please.
not on my own will, I'm not done, but I'll be back.
I appreciate it, sir. Have a seat. All right. Heard from the board? Board vote?
Yes.
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 Thank you. So moves. All right, so we're gonna invite Mr. Harms up to talk about hosting a special election, but before that occurs, I want to make it very clear that the Office of the Attorney General has stated that the right of a person to attend an open meeting does not include the right to address the governing board during the meeting unless specific statute requires the public hearing. This is going to be, as long as everybody remains respectful and doesn't call out their discontent and hate for city employees and all of that other stuff.
There's no hate in Tioga.
That
There's
would
no
be-
hate in Tioga. You mentioned that last meeting, and I find offense with that statement,
Okay,
Mr. Mayor.
it's Mr.
Stop using
President.
that phrase,
That's fine.
please.
Okay. So. As long as everything remains polite, we will continue to have a conversation. All right. Mr. Harms.
Mr. Mayor, we're off to a good start. Thank you for taking the time this evening. For the record, my name is Robert Harms, born and raised in Tioga, and as you've indicated, this is a continuation from our meeting 2 weeks ago. And you know, listening to Haley and the construction supervisor, that's the kind of information that everybody should be having on this project and other projects. That's exactly the kinds of things that should be taking place so that people know what alternative they're on, what building design is being considered, those kinds of things. I applaud the efforts, but the process is upside down. You guys have already approved that project. You approved that project on July 17th this summer. You approved the footprint and the cost, and we've had one public hearing other than the one that you hosted after you were elected. And that's, I think, what has people frustrated, that they've not had a chance to give input as to whether this project is appropriate, if this is the highest use of those $16 million or not. And so that's what we're trying to get to. Last time we had, at the last commission meeting, we really had two choices that didn't really sit very well. They were things that we didn't really like. We were going to either have a special election on whether the bond was going to be approved, or we were going to proceed with a $16 million project that some in the public, I don't know if it's half or but part of the public doesn't fully support. And so that's why we suggested last time that rather than force feed a special election, rather than force that process any further, we came to the commission and we suggested that you halt the planning community center expansion, form a committee, including the members of the referral committee, and evaluate financial options for the bond, and also then have a special election that considered those five questions that I posed. Should the city continue the expansion of the community center in its current form at a cost of approximately $16 million? Should the city of Tioga have an additional basketball court in the community center rather than in the high school? Should the city contribute a significant sum of money, for example, at least $1 million to the proposed addition to the high school? Or should the city retain the current bond, but start over with planning on how best to serve the public with those funds? And then lastly, should the city conduct a professional public survey and public hearings on what the community wants for projects in Tioga? That was sort of our compromise to try to find a way around this problem, because what I also pointed out last time was that under the city ordinance, if the petition that we filed with you, if you view that as being legally insufficient, I understand the argument, I disagree with it, but if you view that as being insufficient, the ordinance also says that the city auditor must provide specific deficiencies within the petition within 20 days. And if the auditor fails to do that, the petition is deemed valid and you have to have a special election. So we thought, well, how do we get out of this? How do we provide you with an alternative? So that's what we suggested, is hold a special election with those issues, and we can all eventually learn about projects that the community wants, supports. Maybe it'll take us a year to get there. The world won't end if we take more time and give the public an opportunity to participate and engage and support what the outcome is. And so that's why we've asked you to, one of you, to make a motion, just as I described, have another second, have a discussion, and we can go about our business and bring the community together, as opposed to fight about issues like this. And because I agree, I don't think there's hate in Tioga. There's some frustration about process. And so this would give you an opportunity to, I think, engage a public process that allows the citizens of Tioga to tell their townspeople what they think $16 million would do the most for the most people. That's it. It just takes one of you to follow or to make a motion.
So I've seen some hands go up. So can you please come to the podium and introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Jeremy Walby. This community center has nothing to do with the high school. Like when they keep saying the high school gym, the community center, it's two different things. We're not gonna let people come and use the gym during school, during anything, so. It's just, that's all I have, they're just two different things.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, come to school board too. Anybody can come to school board meetings and talk to us.
For the school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I know I'm going to kick myself in the butt for this, but I'm sure that people would like to have a few moments to talk. And I can let the board be mad at me, but I'll open the floor for about 10-15 minutes if people would like to voice their opinions or concerns regarding any of these things.
Darryl Glory, I'm I guess, citizen of Sauk Valley Township or Linville Township, north of town here. Probably don't have any right to speak here, but I'm gonna anyways. I have talked to both, not you, but some of the school board members and you and Sean Travis about the city and the Tioga High School combining and building this together and take that $16 million and give it to the school and let the school utilize it for a gym. I don't see any reason why you can't build a gym there. That's where the gym needs to be, not down across town from where school business is held. You have people that would represent the school. They would watch a place. You can have security between the two buildings. You can have it open to the public on the public side, and you can go over to the school on the school side. There's no reason you two can't come to an agreement. It'll save the taxpayers because the city, the Tioga, the school is gonna put what, a $26 million bond out now? And that's gonna cost the taxpayers a lot of money. And that includes me as well. So that's everybody. That's gonna cost a lot of money. I realize what your project is doing is not costing taxpayers money. But that project is gonna cost taxpayers money. Now, I'm all for building something at the school. But there's absolutely no reason why you guys can't take your $16 million and give it to the school. And work together on this project and build it. Now, last year you guys had an income of what, $8 million? City, off of oil and gas infrastructure. And you take 16 million and $8 million. I mean, what school have, that's $24 million. That just won't give you $26 million in 1 year. You haven't paid for it.
Jerry, we use oil and gas impact monies for a lot of things. So what we accumulate from taxes, property taxes and such, it's less than $500,000. That wouldn't even come close to the street budgets, fixing streets and infrastructure, paying the people that live in this town, operating expenses for the buildings. That's all oil and gas.
One sort of whoever watches over your street department is pretty poor because I drove down the street, you guys just fixed and the bounces crap right outside my pickup.
We are working on that.
That's pretty terrible. But I
Which
understand.
street was that out of curiosity?
What's that?
What street was that out of curiosity?
Right in front of the Commonwealth. Where the street ends, the other one starts, absolutely no excuse for that. I've been in charge of, or not in charge, but I've been supervisor of Linville Township for about 25 years. And I would never stand for that in a township. That's on a damn gravel road, not in a city street. Right. And somebody just walked away and left. It's pretty sad. Anyways, there's no reason you guys cannot come to an agreement and have it paid for. I realize it takes money to run it, but when you get $8 million plus a tax money, you get $8 million in oil and gas and you have nothing to show for it. You had $6 million in a slush fund to go towards this project. Where'd that $6 million come from? And how do you get $8 million over a year's time and you have no more money to put in that slush fund? That don't make no sense. There should be some money to put towards that project from the last year. And there is none.
No, that is what is, so instead of us assessing people's taxes when we do street and infrastructure, we write checks. We just write the check out. Nobody has had to pay for, nobody's had their houses assessed in over 10 years.
I get that. But
So that's where a big portion of that money goes. And then again, that's used to pay our employees. And, you know, the water department, that doesn't bring any income in, you know, so a lot of that budget money comes from the oil and gas impact monies.
I'm still saying there's monies there that can be spent towards that school project, especially when you take a $10 million bond that you're paying interest on already. I mean, I don't know where your business manager is there, when you're gonna pay interest for 2 years before you put a shovel on the ground, but that's pretty poor. I don't. How do you get the cart that far in front of the horse? You need to give the citizens a vote to this. That's where it needs to go. The people need a voice. You cannot take the people's opinions away from them. Let the people have a voice in this. That's all we're asking. Let the people decide. But that gymnasium, that addition, the community center is a great place. It serves a purpose just fine. But if you put everything at that high school where it needs to be, you're gonna keep families in Tioga. You build something fantastic up there. You put that $16 million towards that, or $25 million towards that place, you're gonna build something fantastic at that school, and it can be great for the whole community, and you will keep people in Tioga. The school will grow, the town will grow, everything will grow. Community center is gonna do nothing for people, except burden the people, put more dollars. What does that place cost right now? $280,000 it costs you to run that place right now? A year? So you put another $16 million project on top of that, now you have to house more people. What's that gonna cost? $600,000, $700,000 to run it?
So
I don't know. 50,000 more is all gonna cost.
So just out of curiosity, how do the citizens of Tioga get to utilize school property in your mind?
You put a door to the outside facility, same way they have it now. It's not open to the public 24/7. It's open when they're there. People are there to open the door. So you still staff the building, you still have people watch it. You won't have to have them there to staff there because you have it to the schools. You have a janitor for the school that can take care of everything too. So you staff it with somebody already there sitting in front of that building, sitting in front of the library, wherever you have to go into the school. So the people can access it from one way and the school can access it from the other way. And you can work together. That's my thoughts.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
People on there, the citizen here in Tioga, just kind of want to go off of what Jerry said and then what Haley said. And then actually what Jeremy said as well. What Haley said, she presented everything that the community center needs. And I know what the school board's working on is everything that they need. And when you try and get a project like this done, and both things they've been working on separately, and you're gonna try and start all over and combine it into one, it's gonna be 1 year, it's gonna be 2 years, it's gonna be 3 years, and nothing's gonna get done. I've seen it with the school. When we did a weight room, our weight room fell apart before we did a new weight room. We had to get it done, and it got done, and it's usable. And that's what we have to look towards right now, is getting stuff done. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
Bob Anderson. I guess one thing we really missed out on last year, guys, is I brought it up many times to you guys, was the Shopko building. That's gone now. We could have got that for $500,600,000. I mean, that was the steal of the century. I mean, you couldn't even build that parking lot out there. And that's 34,000 square foot we could have had for $500,000. That's the same price you guys want to spend just for moving that softball time. And when, Tim, you worked in oil field, and I'll bet that most of the people in here worked in oil field. And let me tell you guys something, when you guys all say it's not gonna cost you any money, let me tell you something. Right now, everything's good. You said you're running a little over $500,000 budget for your city. It wouldn't last, that wouldn't even last you a month's time to pay your wages. So you're operating on oil impact money. And your statement that says, if the oil taxes go away, it's gonna be paid for. Well, okay, let's say that's true. Well, I'll guarantee it probably will never go away. But what will change is if the oil goes down to $30 a barrel, what the city receives is a whole lot less than if it's 90. Do you understand where I'm going there? So it means you're gonna have to lay off a whole bunch of employees and you're gonna be stuck with a $10 million loan and everything else. I'm just saying that. it should be a vote of the people. Because this has been ramrod, it doesn't have to be at the community center. Why do we have to tear walls out and everything like that? Why can't we build somewhere on Main Street? Build something else and move that playground equipment that has this playground stuff in that arcade, put it in another building on Main Street. Then you got all kinds of room in that community center.
We don't own those lots on Main Street. That's the EDC
You
board.
can buy them from them. You can't tell me the city and EDC, the park board, they all need to start getting the law.
The taxpayers paid a lot of money to tear those buildings down and hand it to them.
I can't help it. What I'm saying, what I'm asking of you, board, let's try to get along with everybody. That's the only way this town is ever gonna survive, and that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Henry.
Yeah, I just want to say that this project's been going for like 3 years. And there's always this comments about, we need more surveys, we need more public input. Every city commission meeting, any one of the citizens could have gotten on an agenda, asked questions, and gotten information. So I just want to remind everybody that ask to be on the agenda. You don't have to wait for a survey or public meetings and special meetings and stuff to find out what's going on. So just something to think about.
About 4 more minutes. Anybody else have anything?
My name's Randy Ron.
Good evening.
I am completely for this. I think this is very beneficial to our community. I don't understand where people are saying that the community doesn't have an input in this, because I don't live in town and I wrote in and asked to be on the board and I was put on it twice. So if you're not on here and getting your input in, it's because you didn't put forth the effort to get on to the committee to get your opinion out there. So I think it'd be just beneficial, instead of coming and raising a stink about things like that. As you say, do the grown-up thing, get on the board. You guys actually approved everybody to get on the board for this community center. So everybody's opinions could have been out there, but it didn't happen. So it's just beneficial. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this money cannot be given to the school. Right? Is that, am I?
Correct.
That's what I was told. That is illegal to give this soil impact money to them. The school gets their own money.
Only to be utilized for the construction of the.
Yes, so the community needs a building of their own, because the school is already has plans into getting the expansion and the gym of their own, which is going to be great also. But if anybody tries to get into a gym here, it's hard, because there's lots of different teams that, and stuff going on in those gyms also. So to actually have a place for the community to go to, and then actually for our students to go to, is very beneficial. So that's my opinion.
City of Tioga, I work for the city of Tioga, obviously. I got on the board because of an issue that I saw prior, or when I moved here. I heard stories about, 2 years ago, a winter storm that shut down the area for 2 weeks. One of the things that I thought was absolutely insane was there's no resource in the area for people to go to, for severe weather, there's no community lifeboat. So being on the board, that was one thing that I pushed for, was, having something that the community can go to with large power outage or severe cold weather or whatever. Something with a generator, something with a lot of space, something that could break up different people groups to keep families separated from single individuals, somewhere that had the ability to feed people and to allow people to take warm showers, and something to warm them up, so that they can make it through those tough times when they happen again. one of the things that we talked about as the committee was prepping this building for it to receive a generator input. So that could be used as a life raft for the community in severe weather. Because this is North Dakota, it's a lot colder from where I come from, and those things happen quite frequently, to the best of my knowledge. So I know people think about it as sports this and event that. I would like to at least get people to start thinking about it in a different manner, something that's not in the community, something that can't be broke up to, let's put some downtown, let's put some here, let's put some there. Having all of those resources in one contained area makes more sense, is a lot more feasible, a lot easier for resources to be handed out, to be acquired and utilized within the community. So I just wanted to make sure that point was out there so that everybody can make sure that they're also thinking about that with their neighbors and the surrounding area. So, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Claudia Tandy from Tioga, and I love the community center. I have utilized it a lot for walking. Trying to get into the high school or the grade school and working at the grade school. Many people trying to get in there to walk, you can't. Between gym classes, practice, you just can't. And the community center is a perfect place. Now, I remember when they were going to put the community center up, and I heard comments from people, we can't tear that farm festival building down, that's a landmark. We can't do that. And a lot of the times the people that complain about it are the ones that are using it the most when it comes. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I have heard many new people that have moved here have said, well, some of them have said, we didn't come to Tioga, they went to Stanley because they had more to do there. There was more options. I think getting this community center would build our community. I don't like the dissension in our community and the feelings right now. I don't know that I'd say hate, but there's real strong, hard feelings. And I don't like that in a community. So I just feel like we need to band together and do what's best for our community. I think I'm for it. I'm all for it. I'm sorry. We just built a church, and in building a church, Wayne Grindy can tell you, I think he's here. The longer you wait, the prices go up, up, up. It's not going to get cheaper. It's going to get more expensive.
Right. Just a second, Mr. Arms.
My name's Scott Roshi. I've lived in this community now for 3 years, and one of the reasons I moved here was there was stuff to do. I could have moved any place around this particular area. I've worked here for 15 years, moved my family here. The community center is something you want to grow into. Right now, I look at it, we're growing out of that building. You want to build something, a building to go into. I'm from Minot. I can't physically go to the school and use the gym. I can't go to the, it's got to be a community rec center. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. President and Commissioners, this conversation is what we've been asking for. This is absolutely marvelous, the conversations, the comments that the public are offering you. And that's what we're urging you to do with this process, with the special election that we're talking, is bring people together, have public meetings. A city commission meeting is not really the place to have detailed discussions about architectural drawings and budgets and construction costs and operating and maintenance budgets. Those are conversations that we should have. And that's what we've been asking you to do with that special election. I'm asking you again that you do that rather than allow this to continue to ferment within the community.
Understood. Thank you. There was somebody on the side of the room.
Who said that?
I'm not, I'm neither for or against it. I really, to me, it's one of the deals I could be talked into it. But, I come to the city commission a year ago, I was looking to build a house in town. Everybody say community center will bring people to town. Where are they supposed to live? I found a cheap lot, an acre lot. They charged me, he wanted $60,000 for it to come to the commission. They tell me that, they won't help me putting the water sewer in. I asked about the street, went to Pine Zone, asked about the street. They told me they wouldn't help put the street in, just put special on. So by the time it was all said and done, it was $200,000 to build a house in town. So you could build all this nice stuff you want, and I'm neither for or against it, but where are these people supposed to live? There's no place in Tioga to live.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Anderson and then Ms. Lund.
Bobby Anderson. I guess the main thing we're trying to say is nobody's against the expansion, not at all. And if, no, I mean, you can say what you want, but we're against, we're up for a vote. It doesn't have to be at the community center. It could be anywhere on Main Street or whatever, but get a voice of the people. And, you know, does it have to be a basketball court? That's for something that, it should be a voice of the people, what they want. And you got a lot of money on hand and you could utilize it for $7 million, you could build a lot of building on Main Street and use the other $3 million to pay off that existing loan. Because a lot of people don't know they owe $3 million.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Hi, I'm Wendy Lenzen. Yeah, I think there's a lot of contention and a lot of assumptions about whether, you know, someone is for or against the community center, and it's created a lot of division in this community, which is definitely disappointing. I was on the community center expansion committee, and I still can't tell you whether I would be in support or not in support of the community center, and here are the reasons why. And again, I mean, numbers are a little bit my thing. It could be just the banker in me, but I think about the sustainability and some of the comments that were made already have me questioning the ability to afford this for the long term, and how much have we looked into that. And so we want all the things, right? We want the new community center. That committee did an outstanding job. They had one job, one level of input, and it was, what would an expansion look like? The question about whether you want one or don't, that wasn't put to the committee. It was just, what could the design look like in this square footage for this budget? So I just want to clarify that, because I was on that committee and I still don't feel like I have enough information. When I look at the budget for the community center, in 2022, it cost $246,000 and some change to operate the community center. 2023, $297,000 and some change. The estimated budget for 2024 is $309,907 and 0 cents. So when you see those increases, and we've not doubled, almost tripled the size of this community center, and we hear it's going to cost $50,000 more a year. I don't know. I guess I have to question that when you're looking at that, and how does that happen? And so when we're saying from December of 2022 to December of 2023, in 1 year of oil impact monies, and we don't have another dollar to put towards this. You talked about doing it in phases and paying as you go. Well, this last year would show there's no money to do that, because we're using those oil and gas impact monies for other things. And so I guess I would just encourage more information about that. I think these people are under the impression with this loan, it might not cost them anything to build the building. But how do you ensure that their taxes aren't going to go up to maintain this building? And not for this year or next year, but 10 years from now, 15 years from now. Because the reality is this project, it is a want. It's not a need. It's not something that we have to have in order to continue as a community. So I just want you to think about that. And then my question for all of you is why are we opposed to a vote? I mean, with just the dissension that this has caused, like, why are we opposed to just letting the people vote and have their say anonymously? Because there is a lot of this contention, and well, you're for it, so you know, I'm not in support of you, and you're against it, and so I'm not in support of you. We can eliminate that and just say, let's hear from the people and move on.
Thank you. You go first.
I'll get to you in just a second.
I'm Chuck Stewart, and I've lived here longer than all of you guys. And I remember 2 city commission meetings ago, Josh, the engineer, it was brought up to him, the community center expansion, and he said, well, it'll be good. We should start doing some groundbreaking this fall in 23. And he said, yeah, that softball diamond can be moved to the extreme west portion of that property, and it'll work out okay. And he said the outfield fence would have to be breakaway for flood purposes, which threw up my eyeballs open. And I talked to you guys about it at that time, and you know, you all just went, yeah, put a $16 million building closer to this flood zone, which is what exactly it is. So there's that. And then Wendy stole my thunder a little bit about the oil impact money. You get the oil impact money now. What does it pay for now? And what won't get paid for when the oil impact money goes into this $16 million community center expansion, which it may be a good idea, maybe a bad idea, but it's there's a lot of pros and cons for it. Thank you.
Check that into not for the floodplain. That breakaway fence is for girls softball. They have a shorter fence. That's why that fence is there.
Josh said it was for flood purposes.
Yeah, it said electric gates.
That's why that fence is there. That's why there's a short fence there.
No, he said that the outfield fence would be breakaway for flood purposes.
Absolutely.
Thank you. There was.
My name is Jennifer Wanzer. Lived here most of my life. I remember the last election we had to elect Sean. I don't think we even had 300 people that voted. I think you could probably find the numbers or something like that. I know that when I voted for you guys, and I trust you in what you decide to do. That is the purpose of voting in a city commission. Now, if we held this to a vote, I don't think you would be any further along in this decision than you are already. Because everybody complains, but nobody goes there and votes. So you wouldn't be any further along. Make the decision. We put you there. Thank you.
I'm wrong, and I'll only be here for a minute, but, the Zion Church, someone talked about that we got a beautiful church built. One thing that wasn't talked about, we didn't borrow any money on it. When we ran out of money, we quit. And we heard some talk that we were bringing down the rental properties because of the church. Not from the board, but from city employees. And I heard it. I think we need to try to work together. When Main Street got built, I talked to a city one of the people that sat on the board. And they said, why are you talking about it now? Why weren't you at the meeting? So I'm here now. And I'm not, I don't know how I feel about it, but I think spending $16 million and there's a divide in this, in the community. I guess I'm kind of torn up over that. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentlemen, thank you.
I've lived here my whole life. Proud of everything this town's ever provided for me growing up. But I will say that, not to say that Randy and the committee have not done their due diligence in 3 years, but we've also been fighting this for 2 years. We've had 2 petitions, one with 400 signatures and now another with 200 signatures. That's gotta say something to you guys. And if it doesn't, I guess we'll just keep on fighting.
All right.
Here and I think about 45 years. Raised my kids here, and I want to say I appreciate you guys for taking all the darts and arrows for us. I did come and go for most of you, but I want to say the very first community center, when they were trying to do that, and that was during the oil boom. It was like this, where people fought against it, and it went on for years and years until the oil boom stopped. There wasn't any more money from oil companies, and we had to get what we got now. Excuse me, I get nervous. But I see that they have a great plan. We have gotten a great deal with money, guaranteed money at a great interest. And I feel like if we just keep putting it off and off, it'll be like 25,000. Or 25 million, I mean, or higher by the time we ever get around to it. And I gotta tell you, just having a gym, someplace isn't gonna really help. When I have my grandkids come, they're of all ages, and some of them want to be in the playroom, some want to be in the gym, some want to be in the library, and it's just not gonna be work to be broken apart.
I think we heard from a good majority, and we went over by 15 minutes by a long way, but it was worth it, I think. All right, so with all that being said, we'll go back to the question that Mr. Harms had. Is there any motion or anything regarding hosting a special election at Mr. Harms' request? If nothing from the board, I think that is a no. So that as there, we'll move on to new business. Select Water Solutions.
Yes, this is the contract that Liz stated that she has reviewed. It is for you guys to look at and make a decision whether you guys want to lease a piece of the property where Select would use to put water holes to run through so that they can do fracking. So, your guys'
Everybody had an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. Man damage. So, I'd make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, with a motion and a second to approve, no questions, comments from the board, we'll move the vote.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so moves. Next will be back to blue fund distribution, sorry. I believe that's Chief Malcolm.
Good evening, Chief Nelson, Tioga Police Department. Come before you today to let you know of grant that was awarded to all police departments, sheriff's office, law enforcement statewide rather from the previous legislative session. That grant they titled the Back to Blue Grant. Each law enforcement entity in the state was awarded a sum of money. That sum of money is to be utilized for retention or recruitment. It can't be used for anything outside of that. So I'm looking for the board's approval to authorize me to allocate that money as I see fit.
All right, is there,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. All right, with a motion and a second, no questions, comments, or concerns from the board, will move the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so moves. Now it's gonna be item number 7. Ray Tioga board appointment.
So every year, or some of the board members and RNT to be voted back in. Tim has been a contributing board member for the RNT board. And his time limit is up, so he needs to be elected again.
I think Tim knows what's going on over there and he's done a great job and I think there's more stuff coming up. So I would like to appoint Tim to that position again.
That's great. Has she talked, are you okay with being reappointed to that?
Yeah, it's a good board.
I'll second. All right, with a motion and a second to keep Tim on that board. No questions, comments, concerns from the board, we'll move the vote. And we need others today. Yep.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so moves. All right, Ray and Tioga, raise and water rates.
Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I can. So WAS is done a rate increase. And they pass it on to the RNC district, so. The raise would be 15 cents per 1,000 gallons. And so usually we just added that on, we automatically do that. The last time I think it was 6 cents, this is the last raise. So we're gonna evaluate, we actually have a loan for the lagoon that we're gonna pay off, probably be within the next 6 months. So I think if we can keep our rates, we're gonna kind of watch the budget. We can keep our rates the same, pay off that loan. I think we'll be okay, and I think we'll absorb this. Wonderful. 15 cents again.
Right. We need a motion. Okay, it's just information.
RMT is raising the rates, that we're keeping the rates the same.
Okay, and then I see another select water solutions again in new business. Is this just a typo? Okay, so that's the same thing that we've already talked about in item number 5. All right, consent approval. This is going to be pledge holdings as of 11/27/2023 and bills for November 2020.
I'll make a motion.
Also.
All right, with motion and a second to approve, no questions, comments, concerns from the board, we'll vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so moves. And that looks like the end of our agenda. Oh, shoot. Go ahead, come back up.
I know most everybody's gone now by their own choice, but you said you might circle back. And I just wanted to ask, since we're still having a live commission meeting.
Right.
And a choice had been made about the special election.
So there was no motion for a second special election. As far as the other portion with what option you want to go with. I believe board members have asked to review it a little bit more before making a decision,
We
but
could say option T, right? That's
the preferred choice by the entire committee. And it's actually smaller and cheaper than option P.
I thought it was the PV, it was.
No. I mean, either one will work. But
going to the other one, we gain no extra space for special activity.
Right, like I mentioned in there, in option PB, you're not gaining a large event space like you would be in option T. Option T more equally serves the entire community for whether it's sports related or non-sports related
There's like a 3,000 square foot difference here.
in the great room.
Is that the great room?
So on option T, the great room is currently, I think, 7,000 square feet, and once you remove the library and playroom to the addition, it becomes just over 10,700 square feet in that one.
So what, I was just looking at, it says total expansion square footage, 26,932. That's for TB, and then for option PB, it's 29,740.
Yes, yes, that sounds right. Yeah, put it out there.
It's gonna be up to the board, but you guys are gonna tell me when I say this. I want a little bit more time to review this, but it's up to you guys. I'm only a voting member if it's time.
Yeah, I'd like a little more time. I was serious, I forgot my readers.
I'm serious, Dollar General was open. Okay,
Yes,
you can, if that's what you would like to do, can you give me that motion?
As long as I don't have to present again,
Right,
the whole spiel.
we just made a motion to table in 2 weeks. Yeah, I'll make that.
okay,
I'll second.
all right, with motion and second table, no questions, comments from the first of the board, we'll move on.
Yes.
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 All right, does
Okay, thank you.
that work? No. It is what it is, right? Okay, all right, with that now being the end of the agenda, no, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. For a second? You guys don't wanna go home tonight? All right, with a motion and a second to adjourn, no questions, comments, return from the board, we'll move to vote.
Yes.
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 All right, meeting adjourned 8:31.
Well, thanks for speaking on it.
Box or.
Yeah.
Here, I want you to nap. Oh, no.